So we're asking this morning, if the Menendez brothers are released, what does life look like for them? And do you think they'll get released? Got two great guests to talk about this. Still with me in the studio, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Noah Pines, and want to welcome in remotely the state attorney for Palm Beach County, Florida, Dave Ehrenberg. Oh, gentlemen, I can't wait to get your thoughts. Noah, do you think these guys are getting out? And if they do, how are they going to live?
Well, it sounds like the DA is really considering releasing them. And, you know, Julie, look, we punish people to deter people from committing crimes, for retribution, for rehabilitation. And the real question is, should people spend the rest of their life in prison? And sometimes they should. You know, should these two people who were, you know, young, very young at the time, should they be sentenced to die in prison? That's a different question. If they are released, you know, I'm a little worried about where they go with all their fame and how they live. Are they going to, you know, ride off quietly into the sunset like they should, or are they going to be some like other high-profile people who got out and acted bad? So if I was the DA in releasing them, it would be under strict conditions, which would include ankle monitor and probably some sort of house arrest for a period of time to show that they can earn their position back in society. No,
appreciate it. Dave Ehrenberg, the DA saying he's reviewing a couple pieces of evidence just brought to light that did not come in trials number 1 and 2. As you know, we've got this letter that Erik wrote to his uncle talking about the sex abuse he says he sustained at his father's hands, and that never was allowed in, and corroborates his claims. Plus, one of the members of the boy band Menudo, as you know, came forward and said he was sexually assaulted by Jose Menendez as well. More corroboration there. Dave, so the two-part question, what do you think should be done with these two? And then if they're out, what do you expect?
Good to be back with you, Julie. I have a problem with releasing them early when there seems to be no evidence that the mother was engaged in sexual abuse. Okay, I get it when it comes to the father, Jose. They're painting him to be a monster, and I get it if he was sexually abusing the sons, that this is a manslaughter case, perhaps, and not a murder case. And if it was a manslaughter case, they'd be out by now. But how does that affect their murder in cold blood of their mother, who was crawling away as they reloaded and blew her head off? I mean, with so much blood that they thought that this was a mob hit. And when I say blew her head off, it's metaphorically speaking, but they murdered her in cold blood. They murdered their parents while the parents had their backs turned, watching TV, eating ice cream. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for these brothers, especially for the shopping spree they went on afterwards, and their parties and their travel and their tennis lessons seem to be financially motivated. So maybe when it comes to the father, it's manslaughter, but when it comes to the mother, it still seems like murder to me. And if and when they are released, because I think it's probably a when than an if, the way that the DA is talking, I think they'll probably try to make money off it through book deals and movie deals. And that's something as a DA, perhaps they can try to limit, maybe make it part of the agreement after the fact. But I don't know. It looks like they're headed for Hollywood and fame and stardom and money.
Yes, Dave, I agree with everything you just said. I love your analysis. You know, and speaking of the money, so these guys blow through $700,000 in something like a 6-7 month period from the time they murder their parents and then get arrested. And the dad had a $14 million fortune they were supposed to inherit, but we know there was a discrepancy about, oh, was dad taking them out of the will? Is that why they wanted to kill him before that happened? These facts are horrible. You know, Noah, for everybody just cringing at the idea that these two could be celebrities after doing something so brutal. I mean, as Dave said, you know, after firing off all those shots, they went back and reloaded and fired more.
Well, they're being endorsed by celebrities.
Yeah.
Celebrities are making them celebrities, and as is TikTok and now Netflix, and there's a whole younger generation of people who are now involved in this case, but they only know bits and pieces. They don't know everything, all these brutal facts.
Right. Look at this. I have this basketball card, a trading card with the Menendez brothers on it. Look at this. They're sitting courtside at a Knicks game before their arrest. Again, blowing all that money after they murdered their parents. Look at that. And people are paying money for this stuff. Dave Ehrenberg, I can't. Your thoughts?
Well, Julie, that is a collector's item because that is Mark Jackson's trading card. And it just so happened that the picture caught the Menendez brothers in the background, sitting front row. And you're right, very expensive seats. That's part of their shopping spree. But it's just such an item of interest where, wow, what are the chances that they were not supposed to be in that picture? I mean, that was just something that was caught in the background that was revealed later, like, oh my gosh, look who's there. So it really is an item of curiosity. I understand why it's going for a high price, but it also, to me, shows their guilt because, look, it doesn't look like they're mourning, doesn't look like they're grieving in that picture. It looks like they're enjoying themselves.
Exactly. Dave, appreciate that. Yeah, if you want to spend it because you like Mark Jackson, okay, but those, to get it because those two are on it, I can't. I've got a clip here. This is from George Gascón, the LA County District Attorney. Let's take a listen to some of what he said in the press conference.
But we're here to tell you that we have a moral and an ethical obligation to review what is being presented to us and make a determination based on the resentencing side, whether they deserve to be resentenced, even though they were clearly the murderers, because they have been in prison for 35 years and they have paid back their dues to society, or whether a habeas is appropriate if there was evidence that was not presented to the court at that time, and had that evidence been presented, perhaps a jury would have come to a different conclusion.
Now, what do you think about him going so public with this? You know, the presser and then the announcement the other day about we could have a decision by the end of this week. What do you think?
Political.
Yeah. He's up for re-election, right?
It's political. I mean, you know, if you're going to make a decision, make your decision, make it based on the law. You know, that's what you're supposed to do. I think I agree with Dave that the evidence was overwhelming, and you know that should be the statement from the DA's office. Now, whether they're going to consider release based on another factor, maybe something different, but you know, you don't want to, again, you don't want to make these two heroes. They're not heroes, and I would really want to hear from them before, if I was the DA, I would want to sit down and talk to them and understand who I'm talking to if I am responsible for having them released.
Right.
And none of this TV camera stuff.
He's doing a lot of the camera stuff.
Yeah, I mean, because the Menendez brothers never came across well on TV, ever, in any interview.